Well, since everybody's so quiet, I think we're close enough to 6 o'clock to get started. So I want to welcome y'all tonight. This is our combined meeting for November. It's the only meeting that we'll have this month of the School District of Oconee County Board of Trustees. And I do welcome each of you here. And as we begin all of our meetings, if you would like, I ask you to join me in a moment of silence. We have a new sound system tonight, so I don't know if you can tell a lot of difference. We can tell a lot of difference. I can tell a lot of difference. But we just hope that it'll make things a lot clearer for everyone. I ask you now, if you will, please, to stand and join me in the pledge of allegiance to the flag.
Attention, salute, pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And now we're going to take some time to recognize our Teacher of the Year and Support Employee of the Year finalists. Several of us had an opportunity, I guess it was last month, to attend a ceremony at West Oak High School. And it was so wonderful because each school has nominated someone for this special recognition. And it was a great time to see these employees and their parents and their families there. It was just a good afternoon. So tonight we're going to tell you who the finalists were and who the winners were. So
Ms. Susie Waring is here from our HR office. She's a director in that office, and she heads up that process each year, so we'll turn it over to her.
Specs. Good evening to the chairperson of the board, Ms. McCormick, and the other board members, Dr. Sloan, Mr. Baer, Dr. Ketterman, and Mr. Herring. Good evening also to our superintendent, Dr. Thorson, and the leadership team, Ms. Simmons, Mr. Hamby, and Ms. Moore. My name is Susie Waring, as has been stated, and I am the Director of Personnel Services for the school district. On behalf of the Human Resources Department, we are always excited to be able to host the Employee Recognition Ceremony each year. Tonight, I am pleased to present our district-level employee recognitions for the current 2021 to 22 school year. Unfortunately, due to COVID-19 and the limitation on visitors in our school buildings last year, we were not able to allow any volunteers in the schools, so they will not be recognized this year. We hope to continue the recognition of our Volunteers of the Year at each school this coming school year. However, each school and department in the district selected a representative in 2 categories, Teacher of the Year and Support Employee of the Year. All winners from each school in both categories were recognized at the SDOC Employee Recognition Ceremony that was held on October 5th at West Oak High School Auditorium. In the Support Employee of the Year category, the representatives embodied the qualities of a dedicated, exemplary employee and were graded using a criteria rubric. Every support employee's application, along with their essay and other pieces of information, were included. They were reviewed by a panel comprised of citizens, retired educators, college professors, and business professionals. No member of the judging panel is a current employee of the school district. These applications were narrowed down to the 3 finalists. Then a winner was chosen. Each finalist received a personalized certificate, a special SDOC name tag for them to proudly wear each day, a personalized school district blanket, a gift basket from McLean Silk Floral Designs and Gifts, and a 5x7 plaque announcing their accomplishments. Audience, please hold your applause until all names have been called. You will be asked to applaud our winners at the end of the presentation. Finalists, please come to the front and stay standing until all the recipients have been recognized. The Support Employee Finalists of the Year are as follows. Ms. Kim Williams, Special Services Instructional Aide at West Oak Middle School, who could not be with us tonight, but this is what was said about Ms. Williams. Ms. Williams has a servant's heart and wants all of her students to reach their full potential. Her most rewarding experience is when she sees the joy on the faces of the students when they are successful. Our next finalist, Ms. Sheila Shauna Aludo. Please come forward. She's a school nurse at West Oak High School. This is what was said about Nurse Aludo. During this difficult time, Ms. Shauna has gone above and beyond the call of duty to make sure our students are taken care of. She loves interacting with the students and making a positive impact in their lives. We appreciate her dedicated service to our school family. Now, the 2021-22 Support Employee of the Year for the school district is Ms. Nancy Ratliff. Please come forward. She is a receptionist at Seneca High School. This is what was said about Ms. Ratliff. Professional, cordial, and helpful are words that Ms. Ratliff lives by. She is kind and caring and will go out of her way to help others in any situation. Once you meet her, you will always remember her. When guests enter our doors at Seneca High, they see her smiling face, a positive attitude, and a willingness to help them. In addition to the gifts previously named, Ms. Ratliff will also be awarded a check for $250 in May of 2022. Please let us now applaud our district support employees of the year. Just slide down. Stay up. Just slide. Thank you, ladies. Moving on to the Teacher of the Year category. Each teacher representative from every school had their application along with their essay, resume, and a rubric which was reviewed by a panel comprised of citizens, retired educators, and college professors. The 19 Teacher of the Year school representatives were screened to 8 semifinalists. These 8 semifinalists received an interview with the judging panel comprised of yet another group of professionals. After this interview process, 4 of the 8 candidates were then selected as Teacher of the Year finalists. Along with an interview, they each had an in-person classroom visit so that the judges could observe them in action with students, view their lesson plans, classroom management skills, as well as student engagement. The 2021-22 Teacher of the Year for the School District of Oconee County, and I lost my place. Please forgive me. The 4 Teacher of the Year finalists each receive a certificate, a special SDOC name tag, a personalized school district blanket, a gift basket from McLean Floor Design and Gifts, and a 5x7 plaque announcing their accomplishment. They will also receive or be awarded a check for $250 in May of 2022. As I call your name, please come forward. The 3 teacher finalists are Mr. Benjamin Bolin. Mr. Bolin is music teacher at Blue Ridge Elementary School. This is what was written about Mr. Bolin. Mr. Bolin takes the time to build a sense of community in his learning environment. He brings positivity to our work environment. Even on his worst days, he always looks at the bright side and is one of the most joyful teachers you meet. He comes in at 6 a.m. every morning, plays his clarinet to get focused, and is eager to help where needed. Ben helps to provide a fine arts program each spring to showcase student talents, and also started a safety patrol program and a student flag team. He always has a smile and never shares a negative thought or feeling. He is a joy to work with, and I cannot imagine Blue Ridge Elementary School without Ben Bolin. Ms. Freda Shaw. Ms. Shaw is the librarian at Ravenel Elementary School. This is what was written about Ms. Shaw. Ms. Shaw is a superior teacher who always puts students first. Not only is she our media specialist, she also wears many other hats. She films, edits, and creates our school news show. She participates in school-wide beautification projects, plans school spirit days, serves as chair of the related art team, and mentors new staff. Ms. Shaw has been a living example of perseverance during a difficult year. Her daily dedication, positive attitude, and efforts make our school a better place. She really goes above and beyond in many areas and always has a servant's heart. Our third finalist, Ms. Brenda Sisson. Ms. Sisson is a special services resource teacher at Seneca High School. This is what was written about Ms. Sisson. Throughout her 43-year career, that deserves a hand right there, Ms. Sisson has long established herself as a natural and enthusiastic leader. She works before and after school on her own time to provide extra support to students when needed. She has even helped with students that are not on her caseload. Brenda has been the Special Services Department Chair for the past 3 years, as well as being recognized as a National Board Teacher. Over the years, she has regularly been involved in community outreach through her church and through Samaritan's Purse. She is an inspiration to her colleagues and is a valuable commodity to students and their families. Please let us applaud our 3 Teacher of the Year finalists. The 2021-22 Teacher of the Year for the School of Oconee County is Ms. Cassandra Owens Moore. She is a previous English teacher, but is now the librarian at Seneca Middle School. This is what was said about Ms. Moore. Ms. Moore has unlimited enthusiasm and persistent level of commitment to our Seneca Middle students and to our school community. If she has a new idea to help promote learning, she finds a way to pursue it. It is evidenced by the numerous amounts of grants she has received over the past several years. She works with the Morning Book Club, Summer School, Summer Enrichment, and the DEN program, running the Daily Snack Cart, and promotes School-Wide Spirit Week, as well as the reading program contest hosted by the Media Center. Ms. Moore's overall attitude toward life is what makes her a kind, caring, inspiring role model and teacher. In addition to the other items received, Ms. Moore also received a glass 5x7 plaque. They all have their plaques with them. She received an all-expense-paid trip to the South Carolina Teacher of the Year Conference that was just held this past week in Myrtle Beach. She will also receive a check for $1,000 in May 2022. Congratulations, Ms. Moore. Let's give her a hand. Ms. Moore is also competing for the State Teacher of the Year competition, and the process has already begun. So know that our thoughts and blessings are with you as you go through this stringent process. We applaud all of our support employees of the year, as well as our teachers of the year for the 2021-22 school year. Your hard work, service, dedication, and love for the students of Oconee County does not go unnoticed. Thank you for the years of caring, the years of love and tenderness. Thank you for your patience, your generosity, and your boundless thoughtfulness. Your imprint lives forever in the hearts and minds of all the students you teach, the students you care for, all the parents and guardians you have helped, all the other school district employees and community members that you so tirelessly serve day after day. Thank you for your attention, and the HR department appreciates the opportunity to recognize our unsung heroes in Oconee County. Now, if the school district board members want to join us below for a picture, we would appreciate it.
Maybe organize them so they can be seen. Back up right to the edge.
Back up right up against the edge, if you don't mind.
Get
Swear
real
once
close
you get in there,
together.
the pound's out. All right. This one, too close, sorry.
And thank you.
Congratulations, thank you.
Operator area.
It's up to you.
We certainly appreciate all the work that each of them do, and they just make our schools as special as they are. And we also appreciate Susie Waring for her work in all of this. Now, at this time, we need to approve the agenda for tonight's meeting, November 15th, the combined board meeting for November. Did anyone see anything we needed to change on it? All right. Then without objection, our agenda for November 15th will be approved. And at this time, we'll have public comment. And I think we have a few signed up to speak.
There's three.
Okay.
The first one is Kevin Larkin.
I was told I was going to be number 2. Chairperson McCormick, members of the board, Superintendent Thorslin, and administrative team, good evening. Last month's board meeting, prior to the first vote on the revision of policy IHAC, Social Studies Education, Trustee Ketterman asked about the origin of this policy. Superintendent Thorslin explained that this policy originated with the legislature. Chairperson McCormick later said she had heard concerns regarding the phrase "adopt values," which is in the policy proposal, even though that phrase, and she noted, was in the previous version of the policy. Chairperson McCormick felt that the phrase now meant something different than it had in the past, and the word values was of concern to some parents. What are these concerns? What has changed about values? Do honesty and integrity mean something different today than they did 40 years ago? Did the values of justice, fair play, trust, citizenship, professionalism that we just saw, respect and discipline, patriotism, did they mean something different today? Are we now afraid of values? Is the word values too strong for some people? If this board thinks it's okay to change the wording of this policy revision and water it down, changing the intent of the policy that was authorized by the legislature, then in the interest of transparency, the public is owed a deeper discussion of why these members of the board think the words "adopt values" should be replaced by the words "understand the importance." There is a lot of difference between adopting values and understanding the importance of something. A recorded vote by this board of this wording change should be called. I think the public would be interested to know who on this board opposes teaching values. If this board votes yes to remove the words "adopt values" from the policy IHAC, then I suggest you all take a look at policy IHAK, character education, because you will have just basically nullified and contradicted that policy. The values I listed earlier were all from policy IHAK, where they are referred to as ideals. I asked the board to look on the wall behind the chair's position at the mission statement. Can this district fulfill its mission to develop responsible, productive citizens if its teachers cannot discuss and teach values to their social studies students? I asked this board to adopt policy IHAC verbatim as written in state law and is presented and approved at the first reading. Members of the board, don't water down policy IHAC. Adopt the values. Thank you for your time and attention.
Matthew Smith.
Hey, hello, my name is Perry Smith. I'm speaking on behalf of the Oconee conservatives and more broadly, taxpayers and parents of Oconee County. As I'm sure you are aware, there has been a national awakening of concern regarding the educational system. There is a growing lack of trust between the citizens and the people they have entrusted the education of our children to. That concern is not only a national issue, but sadly, it is a local concern as well. Specifically, some of the training of our teachers should alarm citizens and parents. I know I speak for many citizens when I say I do not want my tax dollars used to fund training that promotes critical race theory or any political agenda. It is the responsibility of the teachers to teach reading, comprehension, mathematics, accurate history, and science. Not to promote an ideology to shape a child's worldview. That is the parent's job. That's the parent's responsibility, and it is only their privilege. It is also the right of all citizens and parents to be aware of how their tax dollars are being used to train teachers to teach our children. For this reason, a Freedom of Information Act request has been submitted to the public so the public can review how the teachers are being trained. Transparency is vital to maintaining the trust and accountability between the taxpayers and those they have elected to represent them. That's y'all. The current effort to conceal this teacher training gives the perception that there is something that certain people want hidden. The fact that we have to speak or seek help from an attorney to obtain the teacher training in question in its entirety for several months now, we have been given 4 different excuses as to why this information can't be provided. In the format that has actually been requested, we can actually, I think, get it in 3 formats. The final excuse given was, and I quote, FOIA does not give people the right to take documents and spread them on social media or through the mail. That statement only intensifies the fear of many that there is something to hide. That's exactly what the FOIA is for. It's for us to disseminate it and give it to us, public information. It's exactly what it's for. There also begs the question, why shouldn't any documents or teacher training be shared with the public? We should be proud, not ashamed, of how our teachers are trained.
1 minute.
I have,
Oh, he's got 10.
I just have to,
My bad.
I know the other guy didn't get that too.
Well, he didn't make it that far.
Okay, you made me lose my spot. We should be, okay. So now we need to start it over. They are, after all, the ones who have a very serious task of helping mold the minds of our children. That's the teachers in their training. this training is so controversial that such great lengths have been taken to conceal it in its entirety, other questions come to mind, such as, if there is something to be ashamed of, what has been done to correct or reprimand? If there has been such wrongdoing worthy of concealment? What actions have been taken to ensure it doesn't happen again? These are questions that need answers. It is time that all people who have their rather substantial salaries provided by the taxpayers be accountable to us. And the elected board members, you are elected to protect the interests of the people of this county, Oconee County. Not to protect the school administration from the people if they have done wrong. That's y'all's job. That's what we elect you for. I hope when you go into your executive session to discuss this FOIA request, that you keep in mind and demand transparency, because that's what I'm doing. I'm demanding transparency from all of you. I think we know what's happening across the nation. We've seen it in all kinds of states. You know, parents have the FBI put on them because of school boards or states. It's not right, but we're going to start holding you accountable. And I'm not going to back down on my FOIA request. So thank y'all for your time.
Thank you.
Chad Overholt.
There's a mic. Okay. Good evening, guys. Want to just have a quick concern that, and I don't know, like maybe what's the best way to address when there's an incident that happens in a school system. Is the best thing, is there a better way maybe to communicate and try to get an answer outside of going to the principal of that school? And I don't know if you guys are able to discuss this back to the public or to us in maybe your conversation or not. But when it comes to substitute teachers, I believe that there was an incident that happened at Westminster Middle where my son goes to involving an art teacher. So some of the discussion that I've been a part of, and there's not a clear understanding when it comes to substitute teachers, who is actually responsible for getting, does the teacher themselves find their own substitute teacher? Does that come through you guys' office, or is that a principal decision on who substitutes? And also, I know that there was, a couple months ago, you said that we were going to do some, I believe y'all implemented, which I really liked, where a teacher has to stay on course with their teaching and shouldn't dive off back and forth, which I actually really appreciate that. But somehow this teacher decided that it was okay to go south on a conversation inside an art room. So just was a little bit curious about the substitution as a whole for substitute teachers, what that looks like. I don't know if you're allowed to address that or not. I don't know what's the best way. If y'all guys are aware of that situation, is that a school, is that y'all guys' decision, or is that strictly inside the school themselves? And just a shout out, Mr. Thompson is awesome, and so is Miss Gambrell, two wonderful school principals, awesome people.
I don't mind addressing a little bit. I'm aware of exactly.
Okay, that's all I
Yeah,
want.
and it was, well, we have a system called Frontline where teachers put in their absence in advance, and they can pick they call it a Fave 5. They can pick their favorite subs. If you have like a real good sub, you have a system where you can pick those and list them, and they'll be the first ones that the system tries to get. But then after that 5, anybody who sees it can really pick it up and do it. In this case, as soon as we got word with that, we had a meeting, and that person was no longer allowed to sub in our district, and we have dealt with that. And we have a issue. If a problem comes up, typically the school informs HR Mr. Leroy, who's part of my department, that's why I'm sharing this stuff. And he addresses it, he investigates, he does the dealings with it, and he does the discipline or termination or whatever we do with the substitute.
And then in this particular case, we do have substitute training. It's online. There's a process that someone goes through to become a substitute teacher. Once they clear that, of course, if there was anything in their background check or anything like that, we could certainly stop that. But once a person becomes a certified substitute teacher, then they're in that pool that could be called. In this particular case, that person, I think it was their first.
I think so.
I think it was the first time subbing in our building.
Okay.
And a conversation was inappropriate. We acknowledge that. Not going to hide that from anybody. I would tell anybody the things that were said in that classroom. Of course, I wasn't there, but what I've been told was said was inappropriate. That person subbed in our district one day and will not sub in our district.
Is there a shortage of substitute teachers?
Absolutely.
There is?
Yes.
Okay.
That's part of a conversation that's coming up later on.
Okay. So y'all are aware of that? Okay.
But
All right.
it's just been, there's been some more absences than normal too.
Gotcha.
And some of our people who used to sub and used to be really good ones are retired teachers and that kind of thing, and they don't want to come into the buildings as much as they did before.
I would just encourage y'all, I mean, our teachers are our backbone, so whatever it takes to get to support them, like y'all make it happen. I mean, just in their defense, as far as they shouldn't feel guilty taking their family on vacation or whatever, if they're gone, they should not have that pressure of not being able to have quality people to step in for them.
We agree.
We agree.
Okay, thank you guys, that just was a concern, thank you.
Thank you.
All right. We appreciate all that being with us tonight. The next item in our agenda is the approval of minutes, and these minutes are the October 18th, 2021, from our regular board meeting. You were sent these earlier in the week. Did anyone have anything? Okay. Seems to be no changes, so we will approve the minutes of October 18th, 2021, regular board meeting without objection. And next, Dr. Thorsland, we have your superintendent update.
Sure. Just a couple of things of note that I wanted to make you aware of. We did announce today we were going to have a community iPad sale, some retired technology that we had been using in the schools. Those iPads are no longer being updated, so they do pose a bit of a security risk to us, but they're still good devices that can be used. We had a lot of employees concerned about that because of the times we set on that, so we've kind of backpedaled a little bit. We're going to do that, I think, on December 20th, so everyone will have an equal shot. Everyone who lives in our county will have an equal shot at those devices. I know I saw most of you at the Business and Industry Night at Hamilton Career Center a couple of weeks ago. Just wanted to brag on their staff for inviting people into the new building, and it kind of, in some ways, a kickoff to that building. Because of COVID, we've had limited visitors, but a great event. I know Mr. LeCroy and his staff were excited about that. And then finally, I'll just mention our fine arts department. We had all-county orchestra a couple of weeks ago. Last week was all-county chorus, and tomorrow night is all-county band. And those are kind of unique in school districts. It is an opportunity for us to take the best and brightest students from each of our middle schools and high schools and create a county group, whether it be orchestra, chorus, or band. And we pull those students out of school for one entire day. The teachers in our district select a guest conductor who comes and works with those student groups for that entire day, and they practice a few pieces of music and then present them that evening. Just a great opportunity. Our fine arts instructors do a wonderful job with it, and I know the chorus program was great last Thursday, and I'm looking forward to the band tomorrow night at West Oak High School at 7 o'clock if anyone wants to attend. But just things that we can certainly be proud of. And then I said that was final. Just in response to the public comment, of course, it is on the agenda for us to talk about it, but I would like to just address publicly that the South Carolina FOIA law does say that an individual can request information. It does say that it can request different forms of the information. It can be paper form, it can be digital form, it can be viewed. That's a third option, that someone can come see the document. I would argue that we've been very transparent. 2 forms have been supplied. A partial third form has been supplied. There's no additional information. It's, in my way of thinking, it's just, I guess I didn't give exactly what was asked for. All the information has been supplied. Even if, no matter what was asked, there'd be no additional information given. In this case, I've invited multiple times to come view. There have been paper copies given, and an email was supplied with any additional hyperlinks that were in the presentation. So there is no additional information to be supplied. Nothing's being hidden. And when there are cases, just as we talked about just a second ago with a substitute teacher, I will never pretend that the school district is perfect. We've got 1,500 employees, I being one. We all make mistakes. So I'm not going to say that everything that happens in the school district is perfect. I will say we try to address things that are less than perfect when they happen. And when that happens with an employee, we're not free just to talk about everything that happens behind closed doors. Certainly, you're privy to that in executive session. The public, we can't just come out and share what might be a private employee record. So anyway, we can discuss this further in executive session, but I did want the public to know that it's not as if a FOIA request has been ignored, not in the least. So.
All right, Mrs. Moore, our October financial report.
Okay, you all received that earlier in the week, and I'd be happy to answer your questions. One comment I would make is we are still in that time of the year when our expenditures are way ahead of our revenues. So if you noticed, we're about $14.5 million short. So that healthy fund balance that we have gets us through this time each year. So proud to have that, thankful for that.
It'll be better in January, though.
Yes, sir. February, actually.
Anybody, anything they had any questions on? All right. All right, and the next item that we're going to discuss then is the substitute rate of pay.
Hike for hope.
Hi, for hope.
Oh, I'm sorry. I just skipped one whole section. I'm sorry.
Hike for Hope update.
Yes, before we watch the video that Jennifer Dodd and Anna Gibson worked on putting together for tonight's meeting, on September 25th, we had our annual Hike for Hope, where the school district partnered with Making My Mark and Choose Life and Blue Ridge Electric Co-op to have our event. We had a lot of participation from different organizations within our community to give resources out to community members, families, students on help and support. We also had Hal Dunlap from Making My Mark and Scarlett Lewis from the Choose Love movement come and participate as speakers as our event, and you'll be able to hear some of their messages within the video as well. So without further ado, we'd love to share the video with you.
Hike for Hope was born out of a desire to reduce the stigma that often surrounds mental health issues. This event brings together community partners to bring awareness to mental health and the opportunities and resources available within our community. This year's event was focused on the Choose Love movement formula of courage plus gratitude plus forgiveness plus compassion in action equals Choose Love.
Stay alive. So it's something that's what this Hike for Hope is all about, is keeping people alive and well. Mental health is real meaning of physical health. Everybody thinks about cancer and heart disease. You can have anybody so can depression, so can anxiety. Doesn't matter who you are, how much money you have, how popular you are, you can have a mental illness. We need to look to help you, trying to erase the stigma associated with mental illness. We're very grateful to have with us this morning Scarlett Lewis. Scarlett lost a son. Jesse Lewis, 6 years old, died at Sandy Hook Elementary School in Yeshua, 2012. She's got an organization that's called the Choose Love Movement. Let's welcome Scarlett to Oconee County.
Thank you so much. It is so amazing to be here. I'm so honored to share my message, to share a little bit of my story, but more importantly, what I have learned. I'm not going to talk for too long, but I am going to give you a powerful formula for choosing love. If you're listening to me today and you're feeling powerless in your life, I'm going to give you some techniques to bring that power back, to take your personal power back, and to be able to choose love. So the first character value in the formula for choosing love is courage. You heard Aristotle say that courage is the most important character value because it's the one that we need most. Courage, bravery to move through those difficult thoughts that we all have and learn from them, grow from them, and be strengthened by them. And then the next character value is gratitude. You've heard of gratitude. Everybody's heard of gratitude. It is so vitally important. It neuroscientifically strengthens us. You see, these balloons are all what people are grateful for. Consider the next character value, and that is forgiveness. It's kids' favorite character value. Why? Because they say it's like a superpower. They say it feels so good to let it go. The science says that forgiveness is a gift that we give ourselves. It's the gift of freedom from pain and suffering. The last character value is compassion in action. Compassion is when we identify the need of someone, and then there's a second component. It's the action component. To actively do something to help somebody. The science says that everything that we give comes back to us. So that's my message today. Here's the formula: courage plus gratitude plus forgiveness plus compassion in action equals choosing love. We have to be the change we want to see in the world, and that's why you all showed up today, because you are part of the solution. Now let's have a grateful day.
You're the start of the conversation. It's okay not to be okay. Seize the awkward. Notice things in your friends. Make sure they understand that they matter. You matter.
So we just really wanted to thank
Hope was born out of a desire
our
to reduce the stigma.
district's Student Behavioral Health Committee, along with Making My Mark and Choose Life. We all work together to create all the stations to go along with the message. And we just really want to thank our community, those who came out to participate. We had many volunteers from our schools, our employees, students. We had a lot of involvement. And we're looking forward to continuing to hold this event for our community as we continue to get mental health awareness out into our community in ways we can help and support people.
Thank you. It was a terrific event, and we certainly appreciate all those who took part in it and put it together. It was amazing to me how many volunteers came and set up and how much information was available that day. So thank you so much for doing it.
Ms. McCormick, we
Yeah.
also plan to work to put that video and then the video of her entire speech, as you could tell, that was pieced together, to put those on our website, and we hope to do that in the next week or so.
Great. That will be great. And now, Ms. Simmons will let you continue with virtual mental health counseling options.
Yes, thank you. As you all know, mental health counseling services has something that we've had in our district. It has been a challenge to continue to find that additional support that we've been seeking to find for quite some time now. So that kind of led us to look out at other options and avenues to be able to provide additional services in addition to what we're already providing at this moment. So in talking with Josh Shepard, our school district is presently using Gaggle, which is our safety management system that kind of flags if students are putting in emails or in content and assignments, things that kind of alert us for safety reasons within our school day, so we can help and support students as needed. They are actually now providing mental health teletherapy virtually. And so I had a meeting with the representative that works with our district with Gaggle, and then we also involved our district social workers and our present SDOC mental health counselors in a meeting with her and learned more about their services. So I really wanted to tell you about that this evening and get your thoughts. But through this platform, they offer they actually match our district with an experienced licensed mental health counselor from the state of South Carolina. Students that are referred for these services would participate in a 45-minute weekly session every single week. They would meet with the mental health counselor virtually. The great thing about these services is that they can be scheduled outside of the school day, even in the evenings and on the weekends, so that would be convenient for families to be able to have those services for their child within their home. And then also, it does not require any software to be downloaded, so they can literally participate in their session anywhere where there's internet connection. And then also, there's no pocket out-of-cost charges for the families. If we decide to do this as a school district, everything would come through the quote that we pay for as a school district. So one of the options that we're looking at is called a retainer model, and they figured about 1% of our student population, so starting with maybe I'm thinking about 100 students with an average of 6 sessions per student, knowing some might have less, some might need more, but that would give us 600 sessions over a 24-month period of time. We can just use them as we need them. And in talking with our district social workers, our mental health counselors, and with the leadership team, we thought that might be the best option, as this is something new that we're trying, and that would allow us to be able to see how we like the services. We would still be able to use our same referral process that we do now with our in-district mental health counselors, which seems to be working very well within our schools. But really, they would take care of all of the other work on the end by providing those services and searching for the therapists for us, communicating with families, and then also giving us a monthly update on how services are going as well. So the cost of the retainer model that I just explained, it's $78,000 for the actual services, and then a one-time setup fee of $7,000, so a total of $85,000.
Lisa, you said that this is new, it hasn't been tried. Is that here, or has it been tried anywhere else?
It's been, they've had the service for a little over a year now through Gaggle. We would be the first district in South Carolina to use the services, but they do work with districts in Georgia and North Carolina, our closest ones around us that have used the service. And Josh has also talked with some of those districts, and they have given him good feedback on how that's been working for them.
We're still 2 counselors short right now, and have been for a number of months. We're trying to hire people. It's just that it's hard to find mental health counselors to fill jobs. So this would help us meet the need that we have in our district. So we would like to recommend that we
take this option that Ms. Simmons described and see if it's successful.
I think that's a great option. I'm told by city officials that suicide ideation and suicidal attempts amongst school-aged children is up drastically. So I think
That's the same, like the same concern. They've had a lot of concerning statistics that Gaggle even shared with us on their end within the districts, a big increase with that as well.
Do you need a motion on this?
Certainly, if you passed it tonight, it would allow us to start the process sooner. If you want to wait until December and for us to put it back on the agenda, we're happy to let you have some time to think about it. Either way, we'd probably start.
Are the counselors that they will actually be a part of this training and, you know, in the parents' homes and kids' homes, are they certified? Do we know about their
Yes.
training?
They are certified, and we are able to give Gaggle suggestions on what we're looking for as well, which is why I wanted our SDOC, mental health counselors and social workers, part of the conversation, because they're trained to know, like, what are some common things they're seeing with our students that we definitely want this mental health counselor to have experience with.
And mental health counselors do not have teaching credentials, but they are a job that in the state of South Carolina, you have to have a license.
Yes.
So they would be licensed by the state of South Carolina, which would make it legal for them to do.
You said that this is a weekly session?
Yes, sir.
Are there opportunities if there's a crisis or something escalates in a family that?
In talking with our Gaggle representative and with our district mental health counselors, our district mental health counselors can still step in if there's an immediate emergency. So that is something that we talked about as a group as well. And then communication with Gaggle could happen, and then email, texting, that can happen between the Gaggle licensed therapist with the family as well.
And of course, now, as we do gather intake information and things like that, our counselors now, if there is a really urgent need, our counselors drop what they're doing and see to it right then. So this would be primarily for things that are not as urgent. Our counselors are going to take the urgent ones face-to-face immediately.
You know how long it takes to put this into effect, and once you decide you go this route?
When we talked with Gaggle, they'll get started right away, and they said maybe about 4 to 6 weeks to find the licensed therapist.
So our school counselors they're ready for us to do this. I mean, they're in favor of it.
Well, right now, our 3 SDOC mental health counselors are helping cover schools that were outside of their normal area that they were covering, and we've been doing that now this is going on the 2nd year we're doing that. And we do have students from so they're, taking on even more of their normal caseload. Yes, ma'am.
We're not able to meet the need currently with the.
Right.
And when I say meet the need, again, we see the most urgent, but there's a need for additional counseling in our district.
So you have looked into this enough that you're comfortable with it and think that this is actually what we need to do at this point?
Yes, sir. I mean, even with Mr. Shepherd's background information from talking with others, and now that I also had the district social workers and our mental health counselors on with the call, and we went through the whole system, they were able to ask any questions. They actually had another representative join our call from the company. And we've been doing very well with the student security management with this company that we presently use. So it's been very positive change moving to that company for that as well.
So if it takes 4 to 6 weeks to get it implemented and start, why don't we go ahead and vote on it tonight? What do you think?
I agree.
I think if it saves even one child's life.
Absolutely, absolutely. All right,
Days were coming.
then do I hear a motion that we accept the virtual mental health counseling option and go ahead and get started with that?
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Any more discussion? Any more questions, Ms. Simmons? All right, all in favor? All right, Mrs. Morton, now we'll go back to you.
So first, we're going to talk about the bonus options. I understand that last month you all asked that I estimate what a $100 bonus would be for our employees. That's about $170,000. So if you want to give two, then it'd be 2 times 170 and on up. Last year, we prorated according to the FTE of the employee and according to the hire date. So employees who were hired in November didn't get quite as much as employees who had been here since July or August. And I did talk to Ms. Bright, the payroll supervisor. If you all decide that you would like to give a bonus this year, she says they can process a payroll of December 10th to make that happen. So,
I have a question.
yes, sir.
We're talking $100 per person,
That would be the cost.
$200 per person?
That's, for $100 would be $170,000, for two, $340, $510.
Okay, would this be a bonus, and I think I asked this before, or would this be added to the salary? And if it's added to the salary, $100 is going to be given to the government, so they're not going to really get.
It would be a bonus in a separate paycheck, and of course, we have to withhold taxes and Social Security, but it would not be subject to retirement.
It's still going to cut it down, well.
It does.
And last year, we did a bonus of 300.
We did 300, yes.
And we did that across the board.
Well, it was prorated for the FTEs. and-
Right, but we did it.
But yes, that's right.
And I would recommend that again. I don't think it's good practice to.
300 is what we did last year.
If you don't do that, they won't realize anything.
And I wasn't suggesting that it be $100.
Oh, I
No, and this conversation started because our teachers have had, administrators and support have all had a rough year, already. And I'm not so sure that they were really past it. Meaning the hospital today, and it's how spikes are going through different parts of the country. We may still have another one, but I do think that they have gone above and beyond many, many days. And if we could afford to do it, I would like to see us do a bonus again this year for them. So I guess to start the conversation, do I have a motion that we offer our employees a $300 bonus again this year?
So move.
Second.
All right. So is there any more discussion from anyone? All right, then all in favor? Okay. So Mrs. Warranty will get that started.
Okay, and then for the substitute rate of pay, you've heard earlier tonight that we do have a shortage of substitutes, or it's harder to get substitutes to come into the classrooms to cover for our teachers. In September, our fill rate was 66%, so 1 out of every 3 absences was not covered. In October, 72, in November so far, it's been 73%. So it's getting better, but we still, have a need to have more subs in our classrooms. So we have not changed the substitute pay in several years. I can't even remember how long it's been. Currently, it is $80 for a certified or a substitute with a degree. They don't have to be a certified teacher, and $65 for classified employees. So we would like to go to $100 a day for classified employees.
Or non-degree.
Or non-degree, yes. I have checked with other districts, the Anderson districts, we are pretty close to the same amount. You know, some of them are lower than us, some of them are a little higher. Greenville is higher than we are. And I will tell you this, Anderson 3 is using some ESSER funds, and they are paying $200 a day for teachers and $100 a day for classified. It's only for 1 year. They say it's only for 1 year, but.
Is it worth the conversation to bring in, industry credentials? So they might not necessarily have a degree, but they have worked in, a plant for all of their life, or as a welder, or in the trades, and bringing that back into, especially for our career and tech classes that might be short subs.
I certainly would be open to evaluating that on a case-by-case basis. Yeah, if we had a welding instructor who was out and we needed, I think we could probably have Mr. Leroy make an evaluation of that kind. It's very similar to us being able to hire an instructor at the career and tech.
We do that when it's a long-term sub. We do pay their teacher, if they're a certified teacher, we do pay their certified rate after 10
Right, I
months.
think Dr. Ketterman's not talking about certified teacher, but
Right,
someone that would be certified to teach a career and tech
right,
class.
same thing. That's what I meant.
Yeah, if there was
Had the experience.
had the
and
experience,
skill set to do it.
retired from some industry in town and wanted to give back to the community, would that be worth?
I certainly think that that's worth consideration, and we can talk to Mr. Leroy and try to figure out a strategy to implement that. But the main thing is when we have 30%, 40% of our needed substitutes that are not hired because we just don't have enough, we had to do something. And we feel like this would be one that I would love to for you to approve, like immediately, as soon as finance can get it in place to start paying that, after Thanksgiving or after Christmas. I'm not sure which one would be.
I thought about that actually early this morning. It would probably be best if we waited until after the next cutoff for subs, which is like probably December, maybe early in December, since it's a short month, so that the payroll folks don't have to have two rates. Yeah.
But we would like to implement it as soon as possible to just try to encourage more people to be willing to substitute teach. That's one of the most negative things our teachers have faced this year is if they go in to class and a school was not able to hire enough substitute teachers, then the rest of the people in the school have to cover the classes for that day. So a teacher on their planning period might be asked, oh, can you cover 30 minutes of this teacher's class? So they thought they were going to have planning time, and they end up without planning time because they're covering. And that's just a morale killer at our schools. So we would like to try to do something tangible to make that a little better. Get more subs.
All right, so do I hear a motion that we increase our substitute rated pay to $100 for someone who has a degree and $80 for all other substitutes?
Second.
Okay. Any other discussion at all? I think that's it's excellent. We've looked for bus drivers, and I think it's fair because this is very low rate of pay. So, all right, all in favor? Okay. And then you'll just start that whenever it's for you. All right, and our final item for discussion or action, Mr. Handy.
Yes, we have, when we're doing a new project, sometimes we repurpose some of the items that we can to try to be good stewards of that. But right now, we have a surplus of 4 air compressors that we have stored down in maintenance. And just so happens that one of our employees also is a volunteer fireman, and he said that the fire department was in a big need for an air compressor, and one of those 4 used ones would be very helpful and save them that. We have plenty in stock. We don't think we're going to need the other 3 actually, but we will hold on to them just in case there's an emergency. But I talked with them, and I talked with Dr. Thors, and I thought I would ask if it would be possible for the school district to donate the oldest of those 4 air compressors to the Walhalla Fire Department for them to have and use in their facility. I have pictures on my computer, but I didn't share them. But Gene Gravely is the one that has kind of headed that up. But when we do the new projects, just like when we're doing the project now, when we start working at James and Brown and Fair Oak, we're going to take the water tower from Fair Oak and replace the one at Orchard Park because it's newer and can do it. So we try to do that, and we try to store some of the things. We'll take some of the air units off, replace some at Ravenel with some of the ones that are coming out of the other schools. So these were just things that we've collected over the last couple of construction projects that we might have a use for. You want to hold on to them in case, but we up to 4 now, so we feel like we could let them have one and save the city $1,200–1,300 probably.
And just for the public's knowledge, we have a procurement policy, and it's very specific on how the school district gets rid of used equipment. We can't just give it to someone or sell it on the side or anything like that. So anytime we deviate from that code, the school board has to approve it. So we can't. Anyway, that's why this is coming up as board action, because it would be a deviation from the normal way of us getting rid of unused equipment, which would be through some type of public sale where people have an opportunity to bid on it and that type of thing. So when we donate to a local nonprofit, the board has to approve that.
It's just being a good neighbor.
That's right. All right, do I have a motion that we donate the surplus item of an air compressor to the Walhalla Fire Department?
So moved.
Second.
Any more discussion or questions? Mr. Handy? All right, all in favor? All right. Sure you'll get that to them. All right, now we have a number of action items, and I think probably, let's look at the first 2 together, Exhibit 4 and Exhibit 5.
Okay.
If we could.
Sure. The graduation requirements policy, the additions that were there are right underneath where all the subjects and credit units were listed, stating that keyboarding can no longer be substituted for 1/2 credit of the computer science requirement, and that is for incoming freshmen. That began in the 18-19 school year. And then marching band, although we don't offer it here in the school district of Oconee County as a PE credit, we did keep it on here because we could have a student that transfers in that has that as a PE credit. The same information about keyboarding is also included on page 2 underneath adult education. And then on page 3, the organization Cognia was replaced for Advanced Ed. So those are the only changes on that policy. And then on IKAR, our grading assessment systems, some start on page 4, where we talk about reviewing a student's transcript along with other supporting evidence to make decisions on transcribing credits. And then also On page 5, down under dual credit courses, the changes that have taken place there kind of removes that articulation agreement that we've had to have in the past. So students are able to have more options on where they would like to take courses. And that is all of the changes on that policy.
All right, did anyone have any questions? And again, this is the second reading for these policies. All right, if not, then I will, would like a motion to approve on second reading policy IKF-R, graduation requirements, and policy IKA-R, grading assessment system. Is there a motion?
Madam Chair, I move that we approve policy IKF-R, graduation requirements, and policy IKA-R, grading assessment systems.
Second?
Second.
Any more questions at all on those? All right, all in favor? Okay. All right, and our next is approval as a second reading on the policy IHAC, Social Studies Education. Last week, I asked that a part of that be changed, and as you see on the second reading that we received tonight, there was a phrase that was removed, and to adopt values necessary. I guess I would just like to clarify that I don't believe that, as we stated last time we discussed this, it doesn't say we don't teach right and we don't teach our students the best that we can. But again, as we heard one tonight who was in favor of having it in there, we equally heard another one that the values are to be taught by parents, not by the schools, that that's not part of what we teach. So, there's kind of a split down to that. But again, I think this policy reads well because, again, it says we are to develop critical thinking and processing skills and help our students understand the importance of responsible social, political, and economic participation in a diverse, interdependent, and changing world. So I think that takes care of what our responsibilities as a school district are. And
Ms. McCormick, can
Yes.
I just jump in?
Absolutely.
Okay with that? Certainly, Mr. Larkin made some valid points.
Absolutely.
I don't think anyone in this room would say that it's not a teacher's job to teach honesty, integrity, things like that Kevin mentioned. I think are important, and I think we do need to teach those. However, in particular with social studies, when you use the word political and attach value to it, it's a lightning rod today. And I don't think our teachers should be teaching political values. And so if we're talking about character traits, yes. We have the poster in a lot of our elementary schools, everything I needed to know I learned in kindergarten, that talks about values. We do need to teach those. But I do think we need to be careful when it comes to a lot of things that are taught in the social studies classroom, including politics, governments, different things like that. We need to teach history, but we don't want our teachers trying to sway students on either side of the American political spectrum. That's really not something we should do in K-12 education. So I don't think that removing that word hurts this policy. I don't think it handcuffs our social studies teachers.
I agree with what you said 100%.
Well, at this point, let's get it on the floor with approval for second reading for policy IHAC, Social Studies Education. Is there a motion that it be approved?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Okay, does anybody else have any comments or anything they'd like to say about the way it was written? All right, all in favor?
I think it might be a really good idea at some point, and I think for Michael to make that public statement. You know, not just at a board meeting, but representing the school district of Oconee County. I mean, it makes sense
It does.
if you think about it that way. But if you don't, if you think about it just in one vein, you can get sidetracked pretty easily.
Absolutely.
Well, and when you put it in the light of actually social studies.
Yeah.
Yes, are we wanting to teach our kids, and I wrote down a handful here while we were watching the Hike for Hope values, courage, gratitude, forgiveness, compassion. We want our children to learn these and adopt those and have those sorts of values. But in social studies class, that is where I think this is defined clearly, is in social studies.
And our social studies teachers are still going to teach compassion, and all of those that are, we would consider character traits that are kind of what's seen in America as the character of its citizenry. We're still going to teach that. But because it's been such a lightning ride recently, some people do see the definition of the word values expanding, maybe beyond just those traditional character traits that 99% of Americans would agree on. And so, again, I don't think this suggestion was out of line, and I'm comfortable with it.
I have, in the definition here of values as a verb is to consider something to be important or beneficial. My opinion on.
Now then we will move on with this revised, since it has been approved in second reading. Then our final policy is policy EBCD, which is safety plans.
This policy, as I shared last time, is an update. There's some good in it. We will cut down the fire drill 2 a year, 1 per semester, one in the first 10 days of school and the other in the second semester. It maintains, and we continue to follow the guidelines with the code reds. He was out of the school last week helping them do it. We're doing them with just within the school, talking about it, showing the kids where they would go, doing that kind of thing in the fall semester. We'll see what we want to do in the spring, but we will definitely meet our letter of the law there. I've worked with our maintenance, mainly Richard Alexander, in that to work on this assessment piece that you're supposed to do every month where you go around. And it's really going to be a combination of the facility specialist and some maintenance guys who will do that. So it'll be falling under their job description. But the rest of it are things that we typically do anyway. It's not going to change a tremendous amount as we move forward. But we are happy that the fire drills can be cut down. And we do the natural disaster drills just as we typically would and what's required.
All right, so do I have a motion that we approve the second reading policy EBCD, safety plans and drills?
So moved.
Okay, second. All in favor? All right, that is the last item on our agenda tonight. And with that, if there are no objections, we will go into executive session to consider personnel items, employment recommendations and changes, and also a legal update regarding FOIA requests. Thank y'all for being here tonight.